So my name is Mohammad AlTurk. I am a 22-year-old Palestinian from Gaza. I live in Gaza City. Before the genocide, I was studying in my university. Uh, there was I was going to my university, having classes like any other person. Oh, actually, let's go back. Let's go back. Back in 2018, so we were living in an apartment in a building, and there was an Israeli aggression against Gaza. There was actually an Israeli undercover force that infiltrated Gaza, and its cover was blown. It was discovered, and but they managed to escape. And that followed 3 days of Israeli aggression and bombing of Gaza. The building that we used to live in was bombed, and we lost our home. So we have been basically displaced since 2018. We have rented an apartment close to where we used to live. And I was then after that, there was the university. I used to go to university. I loved it very much. It was like my second home. I loved the professors. I liked my classmates. We were a very small class, and yeah, I didn't. So I always knew that Israel were the bad guys, but I never thought about. I didn't think about the pro-Palestine activism. I just wasn't really interested. Like I said, I knew that Israel were the bad guys, the Zionist terrorist entity. We actually refer to it as entity because in Arabic it's al-Kayan al-Suhuni, Arabic Zionist entity. It means it's illegitimate. And Israel is illegitimate. It's not the settlers in the West Bank or the Netanyahu government. It's Israel itself. The Zionist project is illegitimate. So I knew that, but I just wasn't interested. I thought I would do other things. And then there was the genocide that changed everything. Yeah.
So, okay. And okay, that was great. So you were just a student living your student life.
Yeah, I was. And
what do you study? What do you study? What do you want to be when you grow up?
So I was majoring in English translation. There are 4 branches of English. There is English literature. There is English education, in which I become a teacher. There's English translation, which is my major. And there is English and media and publicity. So yeah, that was my major. And I thought of becoming a translator or an interpreter. I still want to be a translator or an interpreter. Yeah, that's what it was.
Mo, one of the worst
aspects. Do you
aspects.
go by Mo? Is that okay? Peter does that. He abbreviates. Do you go by Mo? What is that okay?
Sorry?
He called you Mo. Is that okay?
Do you really think he's going to take offense to that?
I don't know. Not everybody likes their name shortened.
No, it's okay. You can call me whatever you want.
Okay.
It's okay if it's Peter. If it's Peter calling me, it's okay. He can do whatever he wants.
He's just saying Mo. He shortens everybody's names. That's all. Okay.
You know something? He's a guest on our show, and if anything, maybe a little humor is actually what people need right now.
I'm not saying it's not okay.
I'm going to call you
the ask.
I'm going to call you the Turk. How's that? I'll call him the Turk. That's what.
Please don't. That's so.
No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh my God.
There's a couple of severe misconceptions in the West about you and your people. The first one, which I think is imperative, because this is something that has been used in Western media for many a generation, your parents, grandparents will share it as well, that you people are savages, that you're unkempt, that you're uneducated, and that if you were to die, it's not that big of a deal. My understanding is that education is immensely important in Palestinian culture. That's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I think that that's something that is highly emphasized. And the other thing that truly disturbs both of us, probably disturbs everybody in our chat and our show overall, is the constant misrepresentation about how many Palestinians have actually been killed. We are told that 80,000 are dead, when in reality it's probably 10 times that amount. Since you're on the ground there and have probably seen a lot more than, well, you've seen more than most, and you're still alive, thank God, you can probably speak to that. So can you, part A and part B, A being the emphasis of education and the misconception of the savagery that the West likes to portray of Palestinians, and then B, the complete misrepresentation about how absolutely volatile this genocide has actually been for the Palestinian people.
Yes. So, not many people know that, but Palestinians have one of the lowest illiteracy rates in the Arab world or the world at large. I'm not sure which one it is, but
I think it's the world. I think
yeah.
it's the world.
I agree. And education is very important. A lot of people are educated here in Gaza and also the West Bank. Savages are the Zionists. Zionism is savagery. It's terrorism. It's vileness. It's I'm trying to think of a word to describe this heinous ideology, which must be wiped out. The second thing is the genocide. They say it's 72,000. This is the official number from the health ministry here in Gaza, but it's wrong because they only count the people the bodies of the martyrs who arrive at the hospital. Some people do not, but many people actually do not because they're under the rubble and they're not counted. So many people have been killed in Gaza. It's a fucking genocide. And
that's a pretty good English word for you to learn.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. It's this is it enrages me about Zionism here during the so-called ceasefire. The Zionist terrorist entity is waging an aggression, a war of aggression against Iran. They are invading and ethnically cleansing southern Lebanon, and they are running low on interceptor missiles. And in the midst of all of that, they still have time to kill Palestinians here in Gaza. Just today, a few hours ago, they bombed Gaza and they killed a Palestinian and injured others. And in another incident, also today, an Israeli quadcopter, which is a small drone, and there's a gun attached to it, was shooting at people's tents, displaced Palestinians, and they killed a woman. And just randomly shooting, they killed a woman. Also, a Palestinian woman succumbed to her wounds. She was shot a few days earlier in northern Gaza. So they're bombing. With all of that, they still have time to murder and butcher Palestinians. And what enrages me is how casual they are about it. There was incident in which they bombed 2 children who were collecting wood. They were 2 brothers, age 8 and 11. They were collecting woods, and because that's what we use for fire, for cooking. And they killed them in a drone strike and said, oh, 2 suspects. What the fuck is that? And you have the media, the despicable media, regurgitating what they're saying. Oh, the Israeli military said. Who gives a fuck? Who? What is that? They say both sides are accusing each other. What the fuck is that? Sorry, I'm not used to cursing, but
no, by all means, it's worthy.
I get a little emotional when I talk about this, because I'm very passionate about this.
You're making me feel, you're making me feel unsafe. You're making me feel unsafe. Let me tell you something. When I hear you speak, it only validates how I feel about Zionists in general. And they may be in control right now, but they're on borrowed time. And if there is anything that you can hold that can give you and everyone, whether in Gaza City or Haifa or the West Bank, if that could give anybody hope, it's that Zionism is on borrowed time in the United States. It's not on borrowed time in the sense that Zionism is going to cease to exist because Zionists will exist. But in terms of their ability to control our government, that's on borrowed time because this country is rising up against that. And once the United States as a collective decides that we're not going to be party to Israel anymore, that's the end of Israel, because without us, they can't exist.
And I just want to tell you, Mohammad, in all transparency, so I was raised Zionist. I grew up in a Jewish family in a Zionist area in South Florida, and I actually was in Israel in the summer of '87 on a program where we went and planted trees, where I think is East Jerusalem, but I don't remember exactly. This was in 1987. This was before the first Intifada. So you weren't even a thought. And there weren't the same signs. And I don't know, there wasn't a division wall. There wasn't the separate roads. It wasn't that yet. And I participated by planting trees and doing that. And I got to tell you, I feel like I will be atoning for that for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life, I will be atoning for that. And I am just, So
I actually remember seeing a thumbnail of a video on your channel in which you said that you were a Zionist, but now you're the opposite of that. I didn't watch the video, but I remember that thumbnail. And I want to comment on what Peter said, that when Israel loses U.S. support, that's when they will cease to exist. This is very, very accurate. And they know it. The Zionists, the scum. And by the way, I watched your video. They got you fired. The Zionist scum. I saw the video. They are scared. They are frightened because they see the shift in public opinion and the sentiment towards their disgusting, criminal, illegitimate entity. And they know that this change of this historic and unprecedented change in public opinion will eventually lead to action. And that action is cutting all support, financial, diplomatic, military, everything. And that is why you have the despicable Allisons buying TikTok and censoring anybody who talks about their crimes. And they also, you have YouTube that deleted hundreds of videos documenting Israeli war crimes against Palestinians. You also have Instagram. I think they restrict pro-Palestine contact. So there was even a video of an Israeli billionaire saying that they need to restrict America's First Amendment or something.
Yes.
They're scared. They like to say, you have Netanyahu, he says that we want to be independent. What is that? They don't want to be independent. They rely on the US for their existence. And once they lose that support, it's over for the Zionist project. And it will be. And I know that we will witness that in our lifetime.